Let it go. Running from the past, wanting to be sure. Chaos in my mind.
And we're live, we're back. We are back.
It comes back to you.
Well back, I said well back. The combined welcome and back. Well back, welcome back. And we're live, welcome back to the channel. And how about we start with this one? Do you hate Bethesda? This is from RPG Unpacked.
Hi Todd, you're looking good today.
This is great to see you again.
I have some feedback that I'd like you to review. What are your thoughts on that one?
People are gonna have to wait sometimes.
Okay, how about this next one?
You know, it's
Are they right?
get some of these big things out.
The current state of Bethesda's image in the gaming industry is absolutely shocking. Just reading through this channel's comments section and that will become crystal clear. Bethesda should have went bankrupt after Skyrim. They need to get rid of Todd full stop. They're dog pit now. Bethesda's A solid explanation for this phenomenon became available after tweets from Chris Avallone, a veteran Fallout developer who worked on both Fallout 2 and New Vegas, which set the Bethesda community on fire.
And I'm joined now by Chris Avallone, who is the creative director over Obsidian Entertainment. Well, New Vegas, it takes upon the success of Fallout 3 and basically just gives a brand new experience to the player. It's got a brand new city of Sen to explore.
In a series of tweets, he said, "I don't think Bethesda hates Fallout. They just don't fully understand its roots and arguably don't care. They own the franchise and they just want to do their spin on Fallout and make that the norm. This usually translates into a colorful, shallow theme park with some interesting exceptions like Far Harbor, Point Lookout, and the Pit. Still, theme parks are fun for some folks, so if people enjoy it, that's fine with me. As for me, I don't hate Bethesda. There are things they do well, like open world exploration, and there are things they do badly, like telling linear stories in open world games and their inability to understand how to use the speech skill. But every developer has their pros and cons, and judging from the replies, it's clear a large portion of the community agrees with Chris here. Simply offering his opinion on the current state of the franchise has given us the unique opportunity to understand why so many people hate Bethesda right now. What many of you don't know is that Chris Avallone wrote 2 long articles outlining his views and critiques on the first season of the Fallout show. We won't read the whole thing here because it's extremely thorough, but based upon both his tweets tweets and these 2 articles on the Fallout show, let me break down Chris's general feelings on how Bethesda has handled the franchise. Avalon's most damning assessments come wrapped in deceptively simple language. They own the franchise and they just want to do their spin on Fallout and make that the norm. That phrase, "make that the norm," is doing a lot of heavy lifting. What Avalon is describing isn't just a shift in direction, but a complete redefinition of what Fallout is supposed to be. And his metaphor for this transformation is perfectly chosen: the theme park. This usually translates into a colorful, shallow theme park, with some interesting exceptions like Far Harbor, Point Lookout, and the Pit, he continued. Still, theme parks are fun for some folks, so if people enjoy it, that's fine with me. It's a measured critique, almost diplomatic in its delivery. But make no mistake, calling Bethesda's Fallout a shallow theme park is about as gentle as a sledgehammer wrapped in velvet. Avalon isn't just saying that the games are different. He's saying they fundamentally misunderstood what made Fallout special in the first place. To understand Avalon's critique, we need to understand what he means by theme park. In the context of game design, a theme park is all surface, no depth. It's a series of distractions strung together like an adult version of Cocoa Melon. It's candy or junk food, which can be fun for a while but lacks any greater substance than surface level appeal. Everything is designed for immediate gratification, for that dopamine hit of discovery and combat. The world exists to be consumed, not contemplated. The original Fallout games, and New Vegas in particular, were the opposite. They were role-playing games in the truest sense. Places where your choices mattered, where dialogue skills could be as powerful as combat abilities, where the world reacted to who your character was, not just what quests you'd completed. The Wasteland wasn't a playground. It was a living, breathing place that felt real to an extent, its own society struggling to rebuild after the apocalypse. Bethesda's Fallout, by contrast, feels like it's been designed by a committee to check off boxes on a feature list. Open world exploration? Check. Shooting mechanics? Check. Crafting system? Check. But these features exist in isolation, disconnected from any coherent vision of what the world should be or what the player's role in it means. Now, whilst this is Chris's view, I want to emphasize that whilst I agree with the sentiment of his argument, I still really enjoyed Fallout 3 and Fallout 4. With that said, I've always acknowledged that they are inferior games in comparison to Fallout New Vegas, which remains my personal favorite. Avalon is careful to note that theme parks are fun for some folks, and he's not wrong. Fallout 3 and 4 sold millions of copies. The television series broke viewing records. Clearly, many people enjoy what Bethesda has created, but for those who fell in love with the original game's depth, this feels like watching someone turn your childhood home into a gift shop. When Avalon says Bethesda doesn't understand how to use the speech skill, he's pointing to something more fundamental than just bad game mechanics. The speech skill in classic role-playing games represents player agency, ability to solve problems through dialogue, negotiation, and character building rather than violence. It's the difference between shooting your way through a problem and talking your way out of it. In New Vegas, which Avalon helped create, you could literally talk the final boss out of fighting you. You could convince him that his plan was wrong. The entire game was built around the idea that your character's attributes and choices mattered as much as, or more than, your ability to aim a gun. In Bethesda's Fallout games, the speech skill is largely window dressing. Fallout 4 infamously introduced the dialogue wheel, which proved seriously reductive in terms of character options. Even when speech checks exist, they rarely lead to meaningful alternatives. They're just another way to get slightly more experience points or caps. This isn't just a mechanical failure, it represents a fundamental misunderstanding of what role-playing means. Bethesda has created action games with RPG elements, not true role-playing experiences. This is where the theme park metaphor becomes most apt. You're on a guided tour through the wasteland, not living in it. Avalon isn't entirely critical of Bethesda's approach. He acknowledges what they do well. There are things they do well, like open-world exploration. This is no small admission. Bethesda's environmental storytelling, their ability to create vast worlds filled with interesting locations to discover, is genuinely impressive. The Commonwealth, the Capital Wasteland, these are places that feel real in their geography, even if they don't always make sense in their logic. But then comes the other shoe. There are things they do do badly, like telling linear stories in open-world games. This is the fundamental contradiction at the heart of Bethesda's design philosophy. They want to give players the freedom to explore, but they also want to tell specific stories with emotional beats and dramatic moments. These two goals are fundamentally at odds, and Bethesda has never figured out how to reconcile them. The result is what Avalon saw in the television series and what players have experienced in the games. Stories that feel simultaneously railroaded and meaningless. You're told your son has been kidnapped and you need to find him urgently, but also feel free to spend 200 hours building settlements and collecting bottle caps. The narrative demands urgency, while the design encourages aimless wandering. Neither works because they're pulling in opposite directions. Avalone's reviews of the Fallout television series dig deeper into specific issues of world building and lore consistency. His critique of how the show, and by extension Bethesda's games, handle the series and its relationship with capitalism is particularly illuminating and controversial. Was Fallout, as envisioned in Fallout 1, intended to be a powerful political statement about the evils of capitalism? Avalon wrote, nope, citing conversations with Tim Kaine, one of Fallout's original creators.
The game itself, the setting, the story, individual elements. I will start with companies. So Vault Tech, which plays a big role in Fallout and all the subsequent games, it was a stereotype of every greedy, poorly managed defense contractor that flourished in the United States during the Cold War and after. The US still has one of the biggest defense budgets in the world. I think it's bigger than the next 2 or 3 combined. So it still exists today. So I think we all see a little Vault Tech, all these defense companies. We just wanted to make fun of those. General Atomics, that actually specifically came from Robert Heinlein and the short stories he wrote. Many of them had a reference to a company called General Atomics, which just sort of did a little bit of everything. We also have Robco, which was just a parody of Ronco, the company that made the Popeil Pocket Fisherman.
While there might be stories told by individuals and quests in Fallout that are anti-capitalism, to say its roots are anti-capitalist, and Fallout was originally envisioned as anti-capitalist or an anti-capitalist statement is wrong. This statement sparked considerable debate because it directly challenges how many people, particularly newer fans brought in through Bethesda's games and the TV series, understand Fallout's core themes. The television show in particular leans heavily into the idea that capitalism itself caused the apocalypse, with corporations literally deciding to drop the bombs to protect their profits. Avalon's point isn't that Fallout has no critique of corporate greed or systemic problems. Rather, he's arguing that making capitalism the main villain behind Fallout's thesis is inaccurate to the game series' initial intention.
Safe to say that the first Fallout.
Oh, hi Preston. I was wondering if I could talk to you about...
Another settlement has somewhere that they need our help.
That's fine, but I was really wondering if...
Another settlement.
Hey, come back! Where did he go? Whoa, Preston, calm down. Wait, is that Todd Howard?
All of this just works.
Guys, just wait. I want to tell you about... Memberships for this channel are now live, and for only $5, you get access to exclusive videos, shorts, and polls. We've already produced 10 members exclusive videos, which we'll be uploading over the next 2 days. Click the join button now to gain access to almost 2 hours of exclusive content, comprised of 10 full-length videos. Now back to the video. The original games were about human nature, about cycles of violence, and the question of whether humanity can ever truly change. They happen to be set in a satirical version of 1950s Americana, which naturally included critiques of consumerism and militarism, but these were texture, not text. But here's where Bethesda's theme park approach becomes most problematic. By simplifying Fallout's themes into corporations evil, capitalism bad, they're doing exactly what Avalon accuses them of, not understanding the roots of the franchise and not caring enough to dig deeper. It's easier to make Vault Tech cartoonishly evil than to grapple with the more complex questions the original games posed about human nature and societal collapse. Avalon's review of the television series spends considerable time on what he calls the ghoul problem, the introduction of a serum that somehow prevents ghouls from going feral. This might seem like a minor lore detail, but it exemplifies everything wrong with Bethesda's approach to the franchise. The whole serum that causes and prevents feral ghoul behavior was a mess. This is something that's only cropped up in recent Fallouts, but seriously, WTF. His frustration isn't just about a single plot device, but about the casual way Bethesda treats established lore as malleable, something to be altered whenever it's convenient for a story beat. The issue with the anti-feral serum is that it raises more questions than it answers. If such a serum exists, why haven't we seen it before? Why isn't every ghoul desperately seeking it out? Why does Cooper Howard need regular doses, but we never see other ghouls using it? The show introduces this element without thinking through its implications for the broader world. This is theme park thinking at its finest. Introduce a cool concept for a dramatic moment. It's the narrative equivalent of building a roller coaster without checking if the track connects properly. Sure, individual moments might be thrilling, but the whole structure doesn't make sense if you stop to examine it. Perhaps the most controversial aspect of the Fallout television series was its apparent destruction of the New California Republic and the setting Avalon helped create in New Vegas. The show depicts Shady Sands, the capital of the New California Republic, destroyed by a nuclear blast, with the implication being that the entire faction has collapsed. Avalone addressed this directly. I know there was a lot said about me nuking the West as one of the endings for Fallout New Vegas, but it was never any intention to wipe out the New California Republic. It was only to introduce more conflict. This is crucial. The Lonesome Road expansion in New Vegas gave players the option to launch nukes at NCR and Legion territory, but these were meant to complicate the political situation, not erase factions from the wasteland entirely. The television show's approach is different. It doesn't complicate the West Coast setting, it effectively erases it. And this erasure serves a specific purpose. It resets the West Coast to match the aesthetic and tone of Bethesda's East Coast games. No functioning society, no nation states, just scattered settlements struggling to survive in the wasteland. This is perhaps the clearest example of what Avalone means when he says Bethesda wants to make that the norm. They're not just creating their own vision of Fallout, they're actively working to eliminate alternatives. The complex society building and factional politics that define New Vegas and the original games don't fit the theme park model, so they have to go. To his credit, Avalone doesn't spare his own work from criticism. In his review, he notes, "I'd argue Fallout 2 hurt the franchise more than people blame Fallout 3, 4, and 76 for doing." This is a fascinating admission. Fallout 2, for all its brilliance, did introduce some of the tonal inconsistencies and fourth wall-breaking humor that would later plague the series. It was willing to sacrifice immersion for a joke, to break its own rules for a pop culture reference. In some ways, it opened the door for the more theme park approach that Bethesda would later embrace. But there's a crucial difference. Fallout 2's missteps came from a place of experimentation and excess, of creators who understood the world so well they felt comfortable playing with it. Bethesda's issues come from never understanding that world in the first place. It's the difference between a jazz musician who knows the rules well enough to break them and someone who just plays random notes. Throughout his reviews, Avalone makes a distinction between entertainment value and craftsmanship. The Fallout television series, he argues, is entertaining but lacks thoughtfulness. The Fallout series is an entertaining spectacle that works well as a trailer for the current state of the Fallout franchise, he wrote. This is important because there's nothing angrier than a player with a false expectation. This is perhaps his most diplomatic criticism and his most cutting. By calling the show a trailer for the current state of the Fallout franchise, he's saying it perfectly represents what Bethesda has turned Fallout into, something that looks cool on the surface but lacks substance underneath. The craftsmanship problems he identifies are numerous. Pacing issues, dramatic payoffs that don't land, lore inconsistencies that could have been easily fixed with basic research, character arcs that don't make sense. Many of these problems mirror issues in Bethesda's games. Quests that seem exciting but don't go anywhere. Plot threads that are introduced and never resolved. Worlds that don't hold up under scrutiny. It would have been easy to do with any Fallout 1 or 2 lore point versus simply ignoring it, Avalone noted. I do think if Bethesda did embrace this practice, they'd do a lot to reduce some frustration from players, but it does require research and work to do properly. This is the key phrase, research and work. Bethesda could respect the franchise's history. They could hire lore experts, consult with previous creators, take the time to make sure their additions fit the established world. They choose not to, and that choice, more than any specific decision, is what separates them from the creators of the original games. Avalone makes a point of praising certain Bethesda expansions, Far Harbor, Point Lookout, and The Pit, as exceptions to his theme park criticism. This is significant because it shows that Bethesda is capable of creating content that respects Fallout's roots. These expansions feature more complex moral choices, better writing, and more thoughtful world building than the main games they're attached. So why are they exceptions rather than the rule? Avalone doesn't directly address this, but the implication is clear. These expansions were likely created by smaller teams with more creative freedom, less marketing pressure, and perhaps a better understanding of what made Fallout special. They proved that the talent exists within Bethesda to make proper Fallout content. The company just doesn't prioritize it. Running through all of Avalone's critiques is a deeper frustration about ownership and legacy. Bethesda owns Fallout, and Avalone explicitly acknowledges this. They own the franchise, and they just want to do their spin on Fallout and make that the norm. But ownership doesn't equal understanding. You can own something and still fundamentally misunderstand what makes it special. Bethesda saved Fallout from obscurity. Without their purchase of the IP, we likely wouldn't have any new Fallout content at all, but they saved it by transforming it into something else. If Bethesda hadn't bought Fallout, I seriously doubt there would have been another Fallout, Avalone admitted. This is the uncomfortable truth at the heart of the debate. We should be grateful to Bethesda for keeping the franchise alive, but we're also allowed to mourn what was lost in the process. The Fallout discourse often presents a false choice. Either you love everything Bethesda has done, or you're a gatekeeping elitist who wants the franchise to die in obscurity. Avalone's measured critique offers a third path. You can acknowledge that Bethesda has done some things well, that they've introduced millions of new fans to the wasteland, while also recognizing that something essential has been lost. Still, theme parks are fun for some folks, so if people enjoy it, that's fine with me, Avalone wrote. There's no condemnation of people who enjoy Bethesda's games, but there's also no pretense that what Bethesda has created is the same as what came before. At its heart, Avalone's critique comes down to a fundamental difference in design philosophy. On this point, Fallout creator Tim Kaine has a really honest reflection on his feelings of Fallout changing hands back during the launch of Fallout 3.
This was started off in 2007, so it's 10 years after Fallout 1 had shipped. I thought it was very cool that I got invited to these things. I headed down to the beachside hotel called the Fairmont, where Bethesda had set up some private showings of Fallout 3 on the Xbox 360. I liked what I saw, and I told them. When Leonard and Jason and I had imagined making Fallout into a 3D game back in '94, we imagined it looking very similar to what I saw that day. 10 years after Fallout shipped, I was seeing that dream made into reality. I was really excited, somewhat jealous, and a little sad. Fallout was not mine anymore. Many people would argue it was never mine, and they would be correct in a legal sense, and wrong in every other way. As I walked back to the hotel, I had time to think about how strange the path was that led me here. I guess I felt happy that the Fallout IP was not collecting dust in a file cabinet somewhere, but instead, a whole new generation of gamers were going to be exposed to Fallout for the first time. And there it was, a nagging part of me that wished I was more a part of it.
The original Fallout games were built around systems that created emergent stories. Your stats determined what you could do. Your choices had consequences. The world reacted to you in complex, sometimes unexpected ways. The designers created a framework and let players tell their own stories within it. Bethesda's games are built around guided experiences. The world is a series of carefully crafted set pieces. Your choices matter less than your ability to explore and collect. The story happens to you more than you participate in creating it. It's still fun, but it's a fundamentally different kind of fun. There are things they do badly, like telling linear stories in open world games, Avalone noted. This is the contradiction at Bethesda's heart. They want to give you freedom while also controlling your experience. They want to tell you a specific story while also letting you ignore it. These goals don't just conflict, they actively undermine each other. What does all this mean for Fallout's future? Avalone's critique suggests the answer is bleak. Bethesda has made their approach the norm. The television series cements this vision as canon. Future games will almost certainly follow the same path. Beautiful worlds to explore, shallow stories to experience, complex systems replaced by simplified mechanics. But there's a sliver of hope in Avalone's words. He praises the exceptions. He acknowledges when Bethesda gets things right. He's not saying they're incapable of making good Fallout content, just that they usually choose not to. Perhaps the real question isn't whether Bethesda understands Fallout's roots. Perhaps it's whether they'll ever care enough to try. Because understanding is possible. Learning is possible. What's not possible is accidentally creating depth. Shallow theme parks are easy to build, creating worlds that feel alive, that respect both their own internal logic and the franchise's history, that requires effort, research, and above all, care. When all is said and done, Chris Avalone's position on Bethesda's Fallout is more nuanced than either side of the fandom war wants to admit. He doesn't hate Bethesda. He simply believes they don't fully understand what made Fallout special, and more importantly, they don't care to learn. They own the franchise, and they just want to do their spin on Fallout and make that the norm. This is the real tragedy. Not that Bethesda is making bad games, they're not. Millions of people enjoy them, including myself. But they're making Fallout in name only. Theme parks decorated with the iconography of a richer, deeper world they don't fully comprehend. And I think this is why many in the community have grown jaded whenever Bethesda gets mentioned in a positive light. Perhaps that's fine. Perhaps the old Fallout is gone and we need to accept that. But when one of the architects of that old world tells you something valuable has been lost, when he calls the new version shallow, even as he acknowledges it's entertaining, maybe it's worth stopping to consider what we've traded for our theme park admission ticket. Because owning something and understanding it are not the same thing. And sometimes, the saddest stories are about inheritors who never quite grasp what they've inherited. But for me, it's difficult to agree with Chris because I have enjoyed my experience at the so-called theme park. I loved Fallout 3, Fallout 4, and the first season of the Fallout show. And if that's the case, how can I be up in arms against a product I fundamentally find enjoyable to play and get lost in? Perhaps we can acknowledge both sides of the coin. Perhaps it's true that Fallout has lost its original vision and has become something other than the intended. But that doesn't mean we can't also enjoy the new product being offered under the Fallout license. Matter of fact, many people may prefer a rosy, more colorful version of the original license. Some may like it better than the gritty towns found in Fallout 1, and that's okay. At the end of the day, it comes down to your personal preference when it comes to the overarching narrative of these games. If you're someone who prefers the older Fallouts, it's safe to say that you're probably displeased with the direction the new games have taken the franchise. And yet, if you're newer to the series, it's probably just as safe to assume you've only known the new version of Fallout and perhaps should give the older games a try. Fundamentally, we're all entitled to our preferences, and that's okay. The only thing I'd ask from the community is to keep things civil. Someone isn't a useless moron for enjoying Fallout 4, and on the other side, not every critique of modern-day Bethesda is said out of pure hatred. Nuanced public discourse when it comes to the state of the games we love is always required for us to get the answers we're looking out for. Screaming into the void rarely helps. And so, to answer the fundamental question of if Bethesda has ruined Fallout and is deserving of pure hatred from the community, I'd say you'd have to come to your own conclusion on that. My view is that Bethesda's Fallout has offered something of value to a large market of gamers, and I think there's something of a net positive there. However, I also see the tragedy in redesigning something made with pure passion to be mass-marketed on a scale it was never intended to be. Perhaps this world was never meant to be filled with economic certainties, and I'm sure there's an interesting comparison between Fallout's many warring factions and the diverse range of views that amass on forums surrounding this topic. Perhaps we're all in our own little Fallout worlds, fighting a battle we're bound to lose. My only advice is to take a less destructive path when combating views you disagree with on a game franchise we all love deep down. Don't attack those whose opinions you view negatively. Engage with them in discussion. Because war never changes, and we're all bound to end up there one way or another. But we can try our best to delay it for as long as humanly possible. And if you enjoyed that video and want to see me put Bethesda on trial, click the video on screen now and become a channel member today for only $5 if you want access to almost 2 hours of exclusive content.
Okay, so that was Do You Hate Bethesda from RPG Unpacked. Yeah, basically, the video basically talked about why or how Bethesda doesn't even know their own games, basically.
I need a second to take a breath to keep me guessing with what you said. You're in my head.
Okay, what do we have here? Superman, all movies reviewed. Oh, that's quite long. I'm not going to watch all of that. Okay, what is this? Rosie Jones hates Ricky Gervais. Is Fallout Season 2 focused on the right things? I am Noel. Again, I haven't seen a single episode of this Fallout television series. Starfield, quantity over quality. Even more lore. Okay, stole his MVP. Lore matters. Cry harder. Iron Silver destroys WNBPA demands. Fallout 4 Evil Route XL11. Stop killing games. EA shuts down Anthem forever. Yeah, stop killing games. That is the reason why Stop Killing Games exists. The reason why it exists. So that companies can stop killing games. Okay, anyway, let's go take a look at this. Stop killing games. EA shuts down Anthem forever.
I dreaded making this video for so long. I've been sitting on this grift for at least 2 weeks because I knew it was coming, and I don't know if it's that I didn't want to believe it. It's just I didn't want to accept it. Okay, my gain is a little high. All right. There's only been 2 games that have ever broken my heart in this video game industry. The first one is Scalebound. Why? Because that game looked amazing and we never saw it. It never came out. And at this point, I've given up hope that it would ever get made because I won't fall into that Half-Life 3 code. You know what I'm saying? That's extreme level of code that I want no parts of.
Because there are
the other game that broke my heart was Anthem.
You guys,
because this is the worst game I've ever played in my life. An amazing game that was trash as hell.
Reality,
all right, this game crashed and burned so hard, but it was such an amazing game that it is literally breaking me that this game is about to be shut down forever.
You bought it
forever,
and now the server
you won't be able to play
it. Is gone.
Despite the fact that if you're like me and you sunk 300 hours into this game and you spent money on this game, it all meant nothing because you can never play the game again. So let's go ahead and get into it. Buckle up, cry your tears, eat some popcorn because I don't take no pleasure in making this video, but god damn it, BioWare, you did this. Okay, so back in 2016 through 2017, we had this trailer for this amazing new Destiny killer that EA was working on. Okay, EA BioWare. And I'm not gonna bore you by giving you this long drawn out history, nigga. The game we got wasn't the game that was advertised. Okay, now the game wasn't terrible. Basically, this was the Iron Man simulator. All right, you fly around in exosuits. You're like Iron Man. You blow shit up. You hunt for gear, hunt for loot. You know what I'm saying? You play the story. There's dialogue options. There's characters that you love, and oh my god, it was bad. The only thing that was great about this game was that the combat was so amazing, and the biome was so amazing. The visuals were so amazing. Outside of that, nothing else worked. Okay, the looting was garbage. Okay, the enemies garbage. The AI garbage. The story garbage. The RPG elements garbage. Like absolute. But everything else, the combat insane. The exosuits crazy, bonkers. The customization crazy, bonkers. You know what I'm saying? The combos outstanding. They did everything right, except for the one thing that BioWare is known for, which is great storytelling, great characters, great RPG. BioWare was not known for, you know, looter shooters, but they did a great job, you know, making the combat and stuff. And so now gamers mourn the death because we got the last year, I want to say in 2025, EA let the world know that they intended on shutting down the servers indefinitely for Anthem. And man, this is sad. I'm genuinely hurt, nigga. And we're gonna go over it, you know, reluctantly, starting with Eurogamer, who wrote an article, A Sad End to a Sad Story. Fond Anthem farewells begin as BioWare's Destiny-like game reaches last day of operation. And all over the internet, people are sharing their last clips. You know what I'm saying? It's Jesus Christ. Stop killing games, man. I mean, that's all I can say. They updated 7:30 and it's gone. It's unclear exactly when the servers went down, but I checked shortly after 7 p.m. GMT and I couldn't connect to the game's servers. That appears to be it. The end of Anthem. I just can't believe this. Here's another article. I think this is from IGN. As BioWare's failed live service Anthem gets ready to die, players rush to unlock platinums and say their goodbyes while others work on custom servers. Maybe they can get those. If they get those custom servers up, I'll get back on it. But I mean, this is, and BioWare has nobody to blame but themselves. EA has nobody to blame but themselves. I'm hoping, because you know I'm on that insane level of copium. I'm hoping that now that Saudi owns EA, they can look into the archive and say, hey guys, we had something great here. Let's do it right this time. I don't care, like, screw the story mode. I don't care if you just put just focus on a just flat out live service version of it. Okay? That's all you had to do. Screw the story mode. You already have the assets. Just create more maps, more loot, and let people just go around and look at this. Look at this game. Look how beautiful this is. And you let it flop. I can't believe this game should have been quite literally should have been a generation defining game. Instead, it was a laughing stock. This person says, I missed the server closure announcement last year and just learned about it a couple days ago. I had never played it, so I decided to take the game for a spin before it's too late, and the game is quite good. I'm just playing casually, and I'm still a noob after about 4 hours in, but there's a solid foundation here. There are good bones, the visuals are fantastic, the combat and action are fun, and the javelin flight is phenomenal. and
how it
unique.
looks in the
There is,
low.
guys, there was
The thing I
nothing like
about,
this.
the thing I like
But the
about,
problem is there was
GTA
next
is
to
that
no content.
it still looks good.
The enemies got repetitive.
In
The missions got
lowest
repetitive.
possible graphic
The loot
settings.
got repetitive.
Yeah, you lose shadows.
But
and
everything
other
else,
things, but
there's
still looks good.
it's disgraceful that this game had to end like this. Absolutely disgraceful. You could combo off of each other's moves, maxing out your build. I mean, it was crazy. Here we go. Upon a release, after a lengthy and troubled development, BioWare received praise for Anthem's Javelin mech suit combat, and particularly its flight mechanic, which let you zoom in around the game's open world like Iron Man alongside a team of friends. But players and critics alike were less sold on Anthem's threadbare attempt at storytelling, especially when compared to the studio's beloved Dragon Age and Mass Effect games. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, Anthem never convinced players of BioWare's decision to pivot towards an online-only live service in an apparent attempt to recapture the crowd that had flocked to Bungie's Destiny. And that was ultimately their downfall. Live service. Now, I know what you're saying, but you just said make your live service. Listen, they didn't want to commit to one thing or another, and they had no experience with a looter shooter. Live, if they would have focused on just live service looter shooter, then they could have focused on making a lot more content as opposed to this one player story mode. This game reeked of being stuck between people who wanted to make a Destiny game and people who wanted to just make a BioWare game. Look at this. Look at this gameplay right now. But this is like the only map. This was like the only map. I think there's like one like volcano map, but like this was it. No content. This was beautiful. Okay? Let's continue. While there's little chance Anthem will ever be officially revived or handed off to another developer, some fans still hope the game will become playable once again via custom PC servers. Several Discord groups have been set up to explore the possibility of making Anthem playable in the future, the largest of which is the Forge, a community that has been asking players to capture records of the game's communications with EA servers, so these can be backwards engineered.
You can see that they spent
listen,
a lot.
I would be down. First of all, I think
crafting
BioWare is going to get shut down. I do. Like, if
this
Mass
level.
Effect isn't a home run hit, I think EA is going to shut BioWare down. Okay? I think what they should do is, I think they should give this IP to another studio, but they'll never do that. The last thing EA wants to see is another studio or publisher
not really a
take
good
what
game
they had
because
and turn it into a
if it's a
juggernaut.
good game, then
So, I mean, I don't have a problem with being
a
the
lot
first
of
to
people
start
would
the
still be playing this.
Anthem 2.
Like, for example,
That's
there's
what
still
the
a lot of
gamers
people playing
deserve.
Counter-Strike.
Anthem 2, done the
And
right
that is
way.
like, what?
Done the
very,
right
very
way.
old game.
Okay?
Almost 30 years.
Like, look at this. Guys, look at this. This was amazing. And you fucked it up. Let's see what people are saying. This is a developer. After somebody said this is why this game needs to survive or resurrect, Ben Irving, apparently a BioWare developer, said, I'll always love Anthem. I would happily work on it again or remake it somewhere. Well, I mean, I doubt EA is going to want to watch you go and make it better somewhere else. Even Walmart Canada is mourning the death of Anthem. The servers for Anthem have officially shut down. Jesus. Paul Taxi says a final goodbye to Anthem, 30% of a fantastic game. And you know, me and Paul Taxi don't see eye to eye, but I agree with that. 30% of this game was really amazing. Like, normally when you get a bad game, it's either consistently bad, it might have some good elements, but very rarely do you play a bad game where like 30 to 50% of it is amazing. Amazing. This game was that. If you just focus on the combat, the biomes, the customization, this game is amazing. If you focus on anything other than that, it's downhill from there, okay? This guy, Justin Silverman, says, Anthem was the first physical game I ever bought that didn't have anything in the case. I kept it as a collectible, a piece of history from when everything finally went to shit. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I was so convinced by this game, I pre-ordered it. Do you know when the last time I pre-ordered a game? Guys, I haven't pre-ordered a game since she was able to go into GameStop and do a midnight release. I think the last game I might have pre-ordered was probably a Pokemon game on the Switch. I think that's it. I want to say that. Was it Sword and Shield or Sun and Moon? It might have been one of those. But other than that, Anthem was the only game I've pre-ordered since. And Anthem is the reason why I'll never pre-order again. Because I'll be damned if I spend another $80, $100, $150 on the deluxe edition or whatever the case may be, and then you shut the game down so I can never play it again. This is blasphemy. This is blasphemy. Anyway, man, rest in peace to Anthem. Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments. As always, may the grift be with you. I'll talk to y'all later. Oh, fuck you, fuck you.
I need an angel after what you did, 'cause you were the devil, you messed with my head, you lied to my mother, you lied to my friends.
Someone said I just spent $2 on it a few weeks ago.
But this never ends. Don't wake me up, not in this century. Don't wake
Okay, here we have Bethesda doesn't understand Fallout fans anymore. Let's go check this out. This is from Game Overdrive.
Alright, I want to talk about something that's been bothering Fallout fans for a while now. And no, it's not the fact that Preston Garvey somehow still has settlements that need our help. It's bigger than that. The simple version is this: Bethesda doesn't understand Fallout fans anymore. The longer version, well, that's what this video is. Let's rewind for a second, because I think people forget how we got here. Fallout didn't just appear one day and become a mainstream TV show. Fallout started as this gritty, isometric, dialogue-heavy CRPG where actions had weight, characters had attitude, and the world felt like a nuclear nightmare with a sense of humor. The fans who stuck around through that era didn't do it because the combat was thrilling. They stuck around because the writing slapped you across the face and then offered you a cigarette afterwards. The Fallout fanbase wasn't built on corporate announcements, Creation Club bundles, next-gen updates, and anniversary editions that break the game. It was built on a very simple promise. The world is ruined, society is broken, and you get to wander through the ashes and figure out what the hell happened. Fans fell in love with the role-playing, the factions, the weird moral dilemmas, the dark humor, the writing that actually made you sit there at 3 AM asking yourself, wait, am I the bad guy? That was the DNA. Fallout 3 and New Vegas, for all their differences, respected that core. The atmosphere was so powerful, you could smell it through the screen. You could talk, sneak, blow up a town, drink yourself stupid, betray a faction, accidentally wipe out a community, or become the savior of the wastes. It gave you space to define yourself. Then something shifted. It's like Bethesda decided, somewhere between Fallout 4 and Fallout 76, that the fanbase wanted a totally different flavor of Fallout than the one they actually came for. Suddenly, we were getting streamlined dialogue systems, simplified RPG mechanics, a heavier emphasis on shooter combat, and a weird obsession with turning us into post-apocalyptic interior decorators who spend more time placing chairs than making choices that matter. I don't know who in Bethesda decided that the true vision of Fallout was Home Depot Wasteland Edition, but I would like to have a polite conversation with them in a dark alley, far away from anyone else. Fallout 4 is where we started to see a pivot. I want to be clear, Fallout 4 is a great game. I like Fallout 4. A lot of us do. Fallout 4 is a lot of fun. It's a good shooter-looter with RPG elements tacked on. But it's not a great RPG. There's nothing wrong with that. But there is a difference, and Fallout fans noticed it immediately. Fallout 4 almost feels like a game designed for people who enjoyed Skyrim, saw a gif of dog meat, and said, yeah, I'll shoot some super mutants for 80 hours. And that's okay. Fallout 4 doesn't rely on role-playing elements to be good. Certainly, not as much as older entries in the franchise like New Vegas, or Fallout 3 or 2. Think about it, you don't have dozens of different endings to the main story. But it doesn't matter. It had a huge, charming world, and it's a world we all love to get lost in. It had a similar appeal as Skyrim, in that regard. And then came Fallout 76, which is where the disconnect became so obvious that it almost felt like Bethesda was trolling us. Fans wanted depth, writing, characters, quests with payoff, messed up choices, factions that made you uncomfortable. Bethesda gave us a live service MMO without NPCs, a plastic helmet recall, and a loot grind that felt like someone weaponized the worst parts of Diablo and stapled them onto a map of West Virginia. And yes, 76 eventually improved after Bethesda did the thing they should have done in the first place, which is actually add characters and quests. Crazy concept, I know. It's almost as if Fallout players like talking to human beings in a role-playing game. The funniest moment was when Bethesda kept insisting that Fallout 76 counted as Fallout content. Every time someone brings up the decade-long drought for Fallout 5, they always say something like, well, you did get Fallout 76. That's like asking for a steak dinner and being handed a few crackers. Technically it's food, but it's not addressing the craving. And when Bethesda isn't misunderstanding the players, they're misunderstanding modders. Arguably the only reason their games are still alive at all. You know, the community that fixes bugs, adds content, improves graphics, builds entire quest lines, and basically replaces the QA department Bethesda forgot to hire. Just look at the Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition fiasco. We got an update that broke the mod ecosystem, introduced weird issues, completely broke the game for a significant number of players, and somehow prioritized Creation Club store hooks over, making the game better. That's like showing up to a burning house with a brochure for your new pool service. And for Fallout, mods are part of the culture. People have been making Fallout 3 and New Vegas look like modern games, while Bethesda has been busy trying to sell us Horse Armor 2 Nuclear Edition. If Bethesda understood their fans, they'd treat modders like collaborators, not like obstacles who need to be worked around whenever a new monetization bundle drops. You can really feel the disconnect in how Bethesda treats Fallout as a product versus how the fans treat Fallout as a world. Fans are replaying Fallout 4, New Vegas, Fallout 3, and even the classic CRPGs because they're hungry for writing, storytelling, factions, and choice. Bethesda is out here acting like the fan base wakes up every morning, desperate for new Brahmin armor and paid paint jobs for power armor. I mean, who are they even imagining in that focus group? Is there some guy named Chad who wakes up every day going, man, I love Fallout, but what I really need is my T-45 power armor to have a new purple racing stripe? Then there's Starfield. This one hurts because it's the opportunity cost of the century. Bethesda spent years building this massive space game, and that's fine in and of itself. But Fallout fans have been standing in the corner for over a decade, like a kid whose parents forgot to pick them up from school. When Starfield finally came out and didn't innovate on anything, it had no meaningful choices, boring worlds, dull factions, and no weird humor. The most common reaction from Fallout veterans was just disappointment, that this is what pulled Bethesda away from the universes they actually understand. Starfield isn't even bad in a dramatic way. It's bad in a boring way, which honestly feels worse. Nobody minds a mess if it's interesting. Fallout New Vegas was a mess at launch, but it had soul. It had identity. Starfield feels like it was designed by a committee that heard someone describe Skyrim once in an elevator. It's a game full of systems that technically exist, but never interact. Planets that technically have biomes, but no meaning. And factions that technically have quests but no teeth. Fallout players looked at that and said, so this is what we waited for.
Is this what you left me for?
This is the timeline where Fallout 5 got yeeted into 2035. It's not even about Starfield being bad. It's about the fact that Bethesda used to be the RPG studio that prioritized player expression, storytelling, factions, and worlds that feel alive. And now it feels like they're chasing checkboxes. Exploration? Check. Crafting? Check. Skill trees? Check. Role-playing? Just talk to the vending machine NPC, okay? Meanwhile, the fan base has been extremely clear for years about what they value. Complex quests that matter, factions that are interesting, dark humor that comes out of nowhere, and lore that actually respects the setting. Players want to decide if they're going to be a hero or a monster, or something ugly and complicated in between. Players don't want to be just a walking gun platform with minor personality modifiers. Okay, maybe we do, but we want more than that. Microsoft now owns Obsidian and Bethesda at the same time. The potential for actual synergy is insane. They could greenlight the New Vegas sequel tomorrow. They could have Obsidian handle side projects. They could remaster Fallout 3 or fix Fallout 4 without breaking everything. They could let modders curate content and take a cut instead of forcing everyone through the Creation Club mall experience. But instead, we're in this weird holding pattern where Fallout is treated like a legacy brand that prints money whenever there's a TV show and then goes back into the freezer until further notice. Speaking of the TV show, let's talk about that for a second, because it's actually a perfect example of how out of sync Bethesda is with the fan base. The show comes out, it brings in millions of new fans, Fallout shoots up the charts, old games suddenly trend again, the whole fan base is buzzing, and Bethesda's response timeline was basically, oh right, Fallout exists. They didn't have anything prepared. No big announcements, no remasters, no roadmaps, no coordinated content drops. They scrambled to pump out an update for Fallout 76 and an upgrade for Fallout 4, and both situations felt improvised, like someone woke up, saw the Steam charts, and said, quick, do something. Imagine if From Software had a hit Elden Ring anime on Netflix, and their plan was, we'll patch Dark Souls 3. That's the level of corporate bewilderment we're dealing with here. And while all this is happening, other studios are quietly eating Bethesda's lunch. Larian is redefining RPGs with Baldur's Gate 3. From Software is pumping out genre-defining games like they have a sweatshop of demigods in the basement. CDPR recovered from a disaster and came back stronger. Even Obsidian, Bethesda's old roommate from college, is out here building thoughtful, story-driven experiences on shorter dev cycles. Bethesda, on the other hand, is moving at the speed of continental drift. Fallout 4 came out in 2015. It is now 2026. Fallout 5 will certainly not arrive before 2032, and that's generous. That's a 17-year gap. To put that in perspective, entire human children have been conceived, born, raised, grounded, taught how to read, and became Gen Alpha crypto millionaires in the time it's taken Bethesda to remember Fallout exists. Bethesda used to brag about how deeply they understood their players. Today it feels like they're designing for some imaginary consumer demographic that nobody has ever met in real life. They want role-playing, they want reactivity, they want to feel like their choices matter and that the world pays attention. Not a live service treadmill or cosmetic bundles, and that's where the frustration comes from. Fallout fans are angry because they love it, and they feel like the people making decisions stopped listening a while ago. We've been waiting for Fallout 5 longer than some of you have been able to walk. Think about that. Fallout 3 players have kids old enough to play Fallout 3. So yeah, when I say Bethesda doesn't understand its own fans anymore, that's what I mean. They've been treating Fallout like a theme park, and the fan base like tourists, instead of treating Fallout like a role-playing universe, and the fan base like residents. There's a huge difference between those two things, and the longer Bethesda doesn't notice it, the more people will drift toward other studios who do. If you disagree, tell me how long you've been playing Fallout and what you actually want from the next game. If you agree, tell me how many times you've replayed one of the existing games while waiting for Bethesda to remember they own one of the best RPG franchises in existence.
Okay, so I guess that's it for this one. I'm going to take a break. I'm actually going to take a shower because it's so hot. It's very hot right now. Anyway guys, follow the channel, subscribe to the channel, and see you in the next one. Bye bye for now.